Hey everybody, it's Coach Jason. Hope you're doing well. I want to talk about something that I feel like is not talked about enough or implemented enough. It's such an instrumental piece of training, particularly if you're training from the mile to the 10K and any event in between. The reason why I use those distances is because those are the distances that also set up the platform to be, to move up in distance to the half marathon, to the marathon, and so on and so forth. So the speed development that comes along with those things and other things help make you, a much more efficient runner. And energy, and as the races get longer, energy conservation becomes that much more important. But just want to go over a couple things that are instrumental pieces. Looking at my coaching book, by the way, instrumental pieces, and I'm sure a lot of coaches have used these, and athletes have already used these, but I want to make certain points about them that are important components of training that in some way or another I think is a good idea. If you're not implementing them on a regular basis or incorporating them, I encourage you to do so, and I encourage you to watch my other videos in the description to kind of go into greater detail about them. But first thing I want to talk about is tempo runs, okay? And you build up to these certain things as well, especially if you're a new runner or progressing through high school, your summer-based training, and all this stuff. But essentially, it's a continually hard running at a comfortable pace. That's harder than your steady pace long runs. That's slower than 10K pace, kind of in between. That allows you to go, essentially a good distance is between 20 and 40 minutes for a tempo run, even 45 for more advanced athletes, and some folks go even longer than that. But let's say 20 to 40 minutes is the sweet spot. It allows you to run comfortably hard without going lactic at any point in time, and that's key. Okay, without going lactic. Okay, now I have a progression here of how I kind of incorporate tempo runs. And I'm going to use summer-based training as for high school or college runners. I'm going to go 12-minute up to 20-minute, okay? And then you can progress from there, but you progress in different increments once you get 20 minutes. So the way I do it, with a lot of athletes, and you'll see some of my base training programs and other things down below, you'll see how I kind of have it laid out. But the first time I have folks running a tempo after 4 to 6 weeks of running, just base mileage running, and then maybe some hills and some sprints and stuff like that, speed development, is I have you go 2 by 6 minute tempo increments, okay, with a 2-minute rest or active rest period in between. Add it up, it's 12 minutes. So the next time you run a tempo, it's going to be 12 minutes. So you broke it up into 2 pieces the first time. The next time you do it all as a whole. So you go from 2 to 6 minutes, 2 times 6 to 12. The next time, we go 2 times 8 minutes. Then the following tempo after that is 16 minutes continuous. Okay, you're only adding 4 minutes to the tempo, which can seem like a significant component if you break it down percentage-wise, but stretching them out the way you'd be stretching them out makes it very manageable. Okay, after that I go 2 by 10 minutes, and then the following tempo after that, maybe 2 weeks after, is 20 minutes continuous. And then 20 minutes is kind of the sweet spot for a minimum tempo run. And if you can get to the point where you're running close to 4 miles, that's really, 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 really good. But again, it could be 3 miles, it could be whatever it is. But then once you get to 20 minutes, then you're fit enough to start incorporating or increasing by 5 minutes per time. Okay, 5 minutes per tempo. You can go from 20 to 25, 25 to 30, 30 to 35, 35 to 40, and so on. You can add 5 minutes without having to break it up into pieces. And at that point, you'll have run enough tempos and you'll have done enough running. You'll be fit enough to be able to do that. And I'm not saying increase every single time you do it. You can repeat a tempo run. It's also good to repeat, a 20-minute a few times over the course of a season, especially if you're only going to max out at 20 for the season. And as you go along, you'll see the 20-minute segment get a little bit faster and a little bit faster, or your recovery is a little bit better or is a little bit better. Or you can add some speed development afterward. You can do a 20-minute tempo and then take a 5-minute recovery and then do on the back end 3 to 4 by 200-meter efforts to teach you how to turn over when you're fatigued. Okay, that's another way of doing it. You can do the same thing as the tempos get longer. Okay, so that's tempo running. Okay, a very important part. Next one is threshold running. Threshold running is similar tempo running, but it allows you to run at a slightly faster pace and get the same kind of aerobic and threshold benefit, but with short rest periods in between. Okay. And again, it allows you to run comfortably faster and do this, get the same benefit at a slightly faster pace, also without going lactic. Okay, that's a key component. You don't want to go lactic. Okay, and these are also good non-invasive workouts to do on a race week. Instead of going really, really hard and sapping the legs, you can get a great benefit of a tempo run or some threshold running, a cruise intervals we call them, the week of a race. It gives you great benefit, okay? And again, it helps preserve the legs. How do you progress? You know, I look at it from 800 meters to 1,000 meters to 1,200 meters to miles to 2 kilometers, okay? A progression over time, whether you're doing building up the volume. So let's say the 3 to 4 mile distance, okay? So maybe the first time you do 800s, you do 6 by 800 at a threshold pace, 1 minute recovery in between, okay? Next time you do it, you can either, and let's say 2 weeks after that, you can either increase the amount of 800s or you can maintain the distance and just move up to 5 times 1,000, okay? Approximately 3 miles or 5K worth of distance. Okay, now you're staying in the threshold zone a little bit longer, getting a little bit more threshold running, the same 1 minute recoveries. Okay, then let's say 2 weeks after that, you bump it up to 4 to 5 by 1,200 meters. If you want to stay at 3 miles, 4 by 1,200. If you want to bump it up to almost 4, close to 4, go to 5 by 1,200. 75-second rest period in between the 1,200s. A little bit longer in the threshold zone now, so you're getting a little bit more threshold benefit, okay, in terms of volume. Then after that, you bump it up to a mile. You can do 3 to 4 times a mile at threshold with a 90-second recovery. All of these are going to be at the same pace. Threshold pace is threshold pace, and I'll go over that in a minute as well. After you go 3.3 to 4 by a mile, then you bump it up to 2 kilometers. But this is generally for the folks that are kind of training for 5K, 10K, and even longer, the 2 kilometers. I would stick with the miles and shorter, or even 1,200s and shorter, until you kind of are training for the longer races. But the miles are a good midpoint for either way. But 2 kilometers, you can do 3 or 4 or 5, okay, with a 2-minute recovery at the same pace, okay. It's just like tempos, repeating the tempos. You either get a little bit longer at the same pace, or you add some speed development, or you get faster in the tempos. But now, how do you determine when to go faster in your tempos or your threshold running? Something I also encourage everybody to do is a 1 mile time trial. You're going to see a video on that down below. 1 mile time trial helps you determine your current fitness, okay? And how you run the 1 mile, whether it gets faster, whether it's even, whether you slow down, is going to be help gather you data. I'll give you data in terms of how to set paces. But a 1 mile time trial is very informative and can tell you how to set the appropriate training paces for easy runs, steady runs, tempo runs, intervals, repeats, threshold runs, everything, okay? And there's a video down below on how to set the appropriate training paces based on your 1 mile time trial as well. I encourage you to watch both. It's very informative, both of them. They will tell you a lot, okay? So the 1 mile time trial kind of helps establish or put together the pieces of your tempo runs and your threshold running in terms of how long should you run them, how fast should you run them, and so on. And your current volume, training volume, how old you are, how long you've been running helps determine as well how much volume to do as well. Some folks could be a little bit more high volume orientated. Some folks can be a little bit lower volume orientated. It also depends on the athlete and the coach, whatever system you follow. But there will be individualized components as well. You could be part of a team where you do 8 times 1,000, but they're doing 5. You're doing 4, and they're doing 7. It really depends on where everybody's at. Everybody has different needs, but these are all good meat and potato components in terms of how to help everybody progress along. And the other thing I like about them is because they can help you. The difference between that and the intervals, let's say you're doing 6 times an 800 with a 2.5 minute recovery at 5K race pace. That's a more intense workout. It takes an extra day to recover, okay, at the very least for a hard workout. Or 5 times 1,000 at 5K pace with a 2-minute recovery. That's an intense workout where you can do more volume if you slow it down and not require more recovery necessarily, okay? But it also gives athletes an opportunity to kind of tighten up training groups, okay? Some people respond better to threshold running than they do hard interval running. Some people don't have the natural leg speed, so this helps kind of join the athletes together and give them a chance to get the same benefit. But how do you know you're training at the right paces? The 1 mile time trial. It tells you, okay? So that let's say the 4:30 milers are not training with the 5:20 milers, okay? The recovery is not going to be different. I mean, the recovery is not going to be the same. It's going to be very different because you need to make sure you're training at the right training paces, okay? So this is where threshold and tempo runs come into play, and that's why I break them up into pieces to see who can hang and who can last, and who benefits from the longer stuff, and vice versa, okay? The same thing with the threshold running. who has trouble staying together in threshold versus interval training, and vice versa. This tells you a lot of information, okay? And again, that's how I progressed from kind of tempos to threshold running and the 1 mile time trial. Those 3 components right there are instrumental pieces aside from other things, but long runs and speed development, which is very important as well. I'll put a video on that in the description down below as well. That's very informative. It'll give you a lot of data too. These are important components, especially if you're training from the 1 mile up to the 10K and then longer as well. But these things will help set the foundation for you to run well at key zones and move yourself upward. It's easier to move up than it is to move down, okay? And especially as you get older and more experienced, generally we start moving up in distance, okay? So these are important components to consider if you're not considering them already. If you do, I hope you found something valuable information, or if you watch the videos down below, hopefully they're valuable and helpful as well. Every video is fully detailed, okay? I don't leave pieces out. So if you're a coach or an athlete and you want to just continue learning, this channel is for you. I encourage you to hit that subscribe button, watch the videos or videos that interest you that I already have put out. Leave feedback on any one of these videos to see if I haven't put out a video that you want me to put out. I am a USATF certified coach of 20 years. I've also competed and coached at the high school, college, and post-collegiate levels. And I'm also a Wharton certified musculoskeletal and flexibility therapist. So I'm not only here to help make you faster, but I'm also here to help you stay healthy while you do it. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. Right now, it's an opportunity to kind of break the training down since there's really not many races going on or hardly any races at all. And we're in summer-based training for a potential fall season or cross-country season, or in a base-building mode so that when races do pop up, eventually, you'll be ready for them. Okay, these things will help make you much more ready, help make you much more well-rounded. And the more versatile you are, the better off you're going to be to adapt to any race conditions. Okay, so with that said, be safe out there, look out for each other, train smart, train hard, hydrate, stretch, and I will talk to you next time.